Hey beautiful people, it's Chloe. How are you? Thanks for joining me here tonight. Wanted to do a little energy update. I got the beautiful message to share what's going on astrologically based on the true constellations in the sky, the sidereal astrology forecast. And there's been so much change and palpable feeling among the planet. Like if we take the pulse, right, of where we're all at right now, there's a big disconnect from our thoughts and like the physical safety and security that we feel. So it's important right now to understand, like on an empathic, energetic level, that these stable, consistent grounding factors that helped all of us move through life with a sense of security, going out to restaurants with a loved one, going to a family occasion, park. It's almost 4th of July here, so happy 4th of July for those of you that it is now. And, these different aspects of, maybe even going to the movie theaters or, playing air hockey, rugby, outside football, these different things that we would do, getting grounded outside in a social connectivity, we're no longer able to based on what's going on with the pandemic. So there's a sense of instability among safety and security in relation to money and the positions of jobs that people have right now as well too, and unemployment, all these different varietals of associations with money and the instability that's we're collectively feeling and experiencing on a tangible level. So we have to make space and hold room for that as well. Diving into this astrology forecast, just understanding where everybody's at, there's this need for power and this need for stability among this need for freedom as well. So, and we can see that with what's actually happening in the stars right now. So I'll speak to that. So we have a full moon that's actually going to be in Sagittarius. And so tropical mainstream astrology will tell you that it's Capricorn. But if we look at the actual placements in opposition to the sun, it's in Sagittarius and Gemini. So what Sagittarius really represents in terms of an astrological sign is this expansiveness, a sense of freedom, a desire to learn more and to broaden your philosophical point of view, your belief systems, your principles, your values, your virtues, your understanding. And with Gemini supporting this, it's making that practical. It's bringing in that new expansivity into tangible ways in your life so that they can be rooted and anchored in and something that you can move forward with as we progress through 2020. And we're also going to see a trine in Aries, Uranus, and Chiron. And Chiron being the planet of the wounded healer and representing, subconscious belief patterns and systems, as well as unprocessed emotions and things that we need to revisit to neutralize any energy behind. It's going to be showing up for us. And when it's in a trine in Uranus, that being the planet that rules routine, structure, and order in relation to wounding, and it being in the sign of Aries, which is like the first sign in the zodiac, which is this empowered, new, expansive charge forward in creating structure and routine in the way that we move through our healing process, our natural evolution as people. So we're seeing right now a massive level up. On a cellular biological level, people are moving from what is like a carbon energy into a crystalline energy. And we're feeling that, and we're seeing that this level of exhaustion and insomnia and inconsistent sleep patterns is, that physical aspect of needing to find balance through this shift energetically that we're experiencing in our environment, and watching the kind of unraveling of our previous structure and society. So it's important that we maintain the things that were working, that were in alignment with what's best for all, but that we revisit the things that maybe we participated in, like coping mechanisms, ways to numb ourselves or to distract ourselves from our healing process, from making the healing process tangible and practical in our lives. So ways that we can do that, and we can really embrace this natural current of energy of the full moon in Sagittarius is releasing things that constrict us, releasing vantage points, views, concerning travel, gift giving, receiving, these tangible, practical things that relate to expansivity. So, getting in touch with nature, valuing the deconstruction process of healing. So the transmutation factor, that phoenix from the ashes, really letting things go once and for all, and being able to do that by having daily little consistent practices that you apply, whether that's like writing self-forgiveness out or journaling. If for some of you that might be something a little more esoteric, like Reiki and connecting with your spirit guides, whatever that looks like for you. But it is very important that you're applying that on a daily consistent basis right now, and not just something that when an incident happens is when you feel called to do it, right? You're like, oh, I'm feeling unstable or insecure. Like, that's palpably what 2020 is going to look like, is a constant progressive healing process and a level up. We're literally evolving as a species on a subatomic level, as well as mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And we're feeling that, and it's these shifts that are within us that are changing the outside world. And so we have a lot of other astrological things going on. Like, we have this eclipse, the third part of a 3-stage eclipse that is taking place tomorrow. And we had the new moon in Sagittarius about 6 months ago. So if we look at what's happened over the last 6 months, this expansivity, what has it really brought to light? And it's these aspects of things that were hidden, that were subliminal, that we hadn't been focusing on, where there was division or separation, or the idea that there was polarity that wasn't being integrated into the whole of the good. So we're seeing a lot of diversity in polarity right now, but it's extreme. So to create balance, besides just doing these basic grounding practices, you're going to have to try new things right now, is what Gemini and Sagittarius are telling us, to bring you to a new access point, a new homeostasis. Because of the shifts that we're seeing and the perpetual growth and expansion, it's like learning how to surf, I would imagine. This is an aspect of balancing left and right, and to create this kind of pivot point that will always be a solid core for you. So even when you get knocked back out of alignment, it's easy for you to recenter. And every single one of us is going through that right now. So taking time for yourself, and this is disconnecting from social media, from people in gatherings or family, friends. Any time that you feel like you need to give back to yourself right now, it's really critical for this constant shift in energy. It's like I've shared in other videos, it's not unlike a death and a birth process, and there's rest periods in between it so that you can recalibrate as you go. And this recalibration is really essential to being able to be in this for the long haul and see the longevity and the benefit of this integration that you're creating. So this rest time, taking self to go inward, self-nurturing, self-care, and not just on an emotional level, like not talking to people or texting them back or whatever that may be. It's also on a physiological level of nurturing yourself. So this is a time to revisit and revise your diet. If you're feeling better, the more vegetarian and vegan that you eat, or the more high vibrational foods that are close to living as possible, then doing that more frequently. If you notice that you don't feel as good, or that you feel fuzzy-headed, or unable to sleep or focus when you're consuming things that are a lower vibrational frequency, or less than living in more packaged foods, as an example, or even proteins that are animal based. So in addition to this physiological attention to give yourself, right, and practicing not only self-forgiveness and these tangible tools and ways for you to process what emotions come up, it's being extra kind, considerate, and compassionate to others right now. There are people that have not processed emotions or shifted belief systems or done any of this work yet, that are doing it now because of the pulse of the planet and the climate change that we're feeling on an energetic level. So being considerate, knowing that other people are exhausted and doing things they've never done before. And so being able to hold space while you're learning something new, creating these practical new integrations for you and your environment, are really essential for us all moving forward together, creating what's best for all, is holding that sacred space, offering that lending ear, but only from your overflow, when you've actually taken care of you first. So they reference this when we're flying, right, with the oxygen mask, that they want you to put on your mask first in the case of an emergency, because you're not able to save anyone else if you can't breathe. So this is very much that take care of your needs first, but be considerate to others in their place of need right now too, through practical methods of the appropriate social distancing based on where you are, should you feel aligned to do that. But more so in the context of making time and space for yourself to process whatever's coming up, whether your body's tired, whether your mind's tired, whether your emotions are tired and you just need something rejuvenating. So my favorite aspect of this takeaway between the Chiron and Uranus conjunction, as well as the trine that we're seeing in this full moon and eclipse, is really what can you do to expand joy and play during this growth time, where there isn't a center point of what home feels like anymore, of what safe feels like anymore. How can you incorporate and enhance your level of play and adaptability and flexibility? And that's what we're being called to do and asked to do, is level up our methods and tactics to bring a sense of safety and security while maintaining the embodiment of joy and gratitude and appreciation and sharing and unconditional love and all of those kinds of varietals. So just spend what time you can right now reflecting and taking time for you, and also holding space for others. And just know that this kind of trine energy that we're experiencing between like power and freedom and chaos are all kind of integrating together, and finding the homeostasis and the balance in that is what's really going to bring us the most joy and the most peace and the most expansivity in the mundane, in our daily practical every moment by moment lives. So it's not going to be something that we used as coping mechanisms in the past are going to bring us the same joy anymore, or the instant dopamine hit. But right now it's really going to be about what you do every day consistently, and building that routine, healing any relationships you have with masculine authority figures. That's a big theme for current events, is how we feel about the patriarchy and suppression, and embracing the healed qualities of that within you, coinciding with your femininity and your creativity and your expansiveness through this chaos. So building something new. So focus your energy on your businesses, on your own personal growth and expansion, because that's really what the sign of Sagittarius is representing: growth and expansion in all capacities of life. So you'll really feel this after this eclipse that we have tomorrow, and the second half of the month is when that vigor, that momentum, that energy, that clarity is not only going to be in your mind and in your heart, but going to be something your actions align with. So give yourself a grace period. Some of you are already starting this momentum and energy now, but remember, it's an on again, off again oscillation at this time, just based on the highs and the lows that we're seeing in the energy within the planet, and the shift in the Schumann frequency and resonance, the actual heartbeat of the planet. So we're feeling that internally. So creating that constant place that we can go to within ourselves and in our external environment that can bring us that sense of stability is really critical for us to thrive, flourish, and make the most of this energy. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Feel free to add me on Facebook or Instagram, so that way you can see all the regular content that I post, and stay tuned for live mini reads. So thanks so much. See you guys soon. Take care.